Alrighty, it's town meeting time. Hello there, and welcome to your local talk show on KLAM, which is available on demand when somebody has a suggestion for a guest, when somebody would like to be a guest, which is the case today. Someone had a message that they wanted to share, something they're involved in, and we said, why, yes, that's exactly what this program is for. And the show is made possible by Cordova Wireless Communications, your local mobile phone provider and wireless data provider, which provides your local talk show. Coverage where you need it, better coverage in more places, all throughout the Sound with fishing season underway. That's important. Lots of different affordable plans. Learn more at ctcak.net, or you can always stop by the office or give them a call. Today we have the opportunity to visit with Devie Scott, which is a name that will, of course, be familiar to many. And she's participating in this Supermom contest, which she wants to use as a mechanism to spread these ministry activities that she's involved in. And if you like what you hear on the program, you will be able to vote for free to advance her on. And I mean, she's way, way up there. She'll tell us about some of the numbers. She's been doing very well in this contest so far. So she's getting a lot of support, but not to the top of the heap yet. And there are a few more days to vote here. So listen in, see what she has to say about what this is all about. And if you would like to get a Cordovan up at the top of the podium, as it were, you'll learn how to do that. That's the rundown on today's town meeting, brought to you by Cordova Wireless, featuring Devie Scott. Devie, why don't you, for anybody that, I mean, I know Cordova, everybody kind of knows everybody, but just in case there's some people you haven't met or something, introduce yourself to us and tell us about life in Cordova for you.
Okay, well, I guess I could say hello. I am Devie Scott. I'm married to Dan Scott here in Cordova. I've lived here for 17 years. I was just talking to Dan about this. Next year, I will live here longer than I've lived anywhere else. So this is definitely home for me. And I have done gear work here. I'm a net mender. I've done that the whole time I've been here, really. So so I'm very involved with our church at the little chapel. And I mean, I love all of our churches here are just wonderful places to be, honestly. And
well, and the way they work together too, you know, that's the thing that's always impressed me the most. You'll go to some communities where the denominations act like they're enemies, and the joint work that the pastors and the congregations do has always really impressed me. As far as this event, this Supermom thing, tell us what is it? What is it about? I mean, what do you know about how it came about? Why are you in it? What's it trying to accomplish? Just give us kind of an overview.
Let's see. It is just a fantastic thing. That's why I decided to do this at all. It kind of popped up on Facebook to me, and I went, well, I don't know, let's look into this. So I did, and I went, well, this kind of seems hokey to me. I don't know. So I looked into it and found out that, oh my goodness, all the donations go right to the Children's Hospital. It is wonderful. They actually get, like, the people that are putting this on, they cover all the cost of the actual competition, and then the people that actually do the work of putting this all on get 1% of the donation. So, really a lot of money just goes right to the Children's Network. And it's just a wonderful, phenomenal thing to be a part of. So I went, I'm in. Yeah. After I seen that, I'm like, yeah, why not? Let's try this. And so here I am. Yeah, it's been really, really great. We started out with 92,000 women. I'm just amazed that I've made it this far. I'm just so grateful to God, really. He is definitely behind all of this for me. And and we have 20 women left. So that's pretty, that's a God thing.
That's like the top 1%, isn't it?
Absolutely.
My
it
goodness.
surely is. Yeah. So, we're just going to go ahead and do the best we can with getting the 170 hospitals throughout the United States funded for these children to get their medical attention that they need. And, families, they just get so, they could be destroyed if they had to go through a child needing medical attention. I mean, my sister and husband, they lost everything because he had a stroke and couldn't work anymore. So, they were just devastated. And I know what medical bills can do to a family. So this is just really so important. And I've heard some of the stories of these children. There was a child that was in a car wreck, nearly dead, really. And they took her to the Miracle Hospital and just actually brought life back to that child. And that's what they do.
Yeah.
So, this is very important for us to stand and make a stand for these children. And, and with what I want to do more after this. If I win this, I really want to do more for children, more for people in the United States, just to further the good work, of what we can do for others.
So let's talk about, you said that you ran across the contest on social media. Walk us through the steps for somebody who's never heard of this. How did it begin, and then what are the different things that you've had to do and the different experiences you've gone through up to this point?
Oh, wow. It has been a roller coaster, let me tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, it started March, I want to say March 19th, I think. And I just applied. I went through their little, application. Wasn't, what does a mom mean to you? All these things. And so I did their little stuff and just entered myself. It was quite easy, very, very simple. And they do this yearly. So this would be for any of those other moms out there. You could do this next year. So I applied, I got in, and then it's just been one round after another. Okay. And the cuts keep happening and the cuts keep happening. And thank goodness I keep moving on. And
now, when you say around, let me ask real quick, when you say around, does that involve evaluation of the information you turned in? Does it involve interviewing you or people voting on it? How do you move through each round?
It's completely by the public's voting. People vote you in, and that's it. All the stuff that you put in for the information about you and how you feel about, being a mom and all those questions, that is for the public to read so that they know who they want to vote for. And, so that's how they come up with the person they want to vote for. And also, I do a lot of just going ahead and putting it out there to people, my friends and family. I send them updates and things like that, don't forget to vote and things like that. And it really, really has paid off.
Okay. So how does the voting, there's a couple different kinds of voting, and part of why we're talking about is because, again, you're from 90-some thousand to down to 20, so this is getting into, I guess, the quarterfinal level.
Yes.
Sure. How can people that are listening vote to advance your progression through this? How does that work? Okay,
well, there's you go to the link. If they went to Facebook and you go to Devie Scott to my Facebook page, you would see links to vote for me. And so you click that link and it'll walk you through how to vote. Okay. Just continue on until you see your vote's been accepted. And it's just a free vote. You can free vote every single day. And we are going to be ending this. It completely ends on the 18th. And we have this last round will end on the 12th. Okay. And then they wipe everything clean every round, and you have to continue to vote again.
Gotcha.
So that's how that works. And there's free votes. It doesn't cost anything. If you feel like you have extra $10 or something like that, you can do that. But please don't break your bank.
Sure.
This is to help, not to hinder anybody.
And so is that, you mentioned the fundraising for Children's Miracle Network, when people, if they opt to do a donation with their vote, then is that how the fundraising aspect works, or is it done more like by big corporate sponsors or something like that?
Oh, no, it's actually the individual donations. It starts at $10 all the way up to, I don't know, probably 500 or more. I haven't really looked into that part, but so it's up to the individual. I surely don't want to. Yeah.
No, I get it. And it's
I appreciate the votes, but I don't want to, make anybody, in harm's way for it. So
what is your what is kind of the why of this for you? That's sort of, I mean, if you were to try to distinguish your story from some of the other moms, have you seen some differences?
Yes. It's really, really, my heart is for people. My joy, what makes me the happiest is just doing for others. So to win, to me, it would just mean that I could do more for others. And, I take suggestions. I had a friend suggest that we do backpacks for foster kids. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's such a great idea. My sister has foster kids her whole life. She's done like 20 children for foster care and, adopted them, did the whole thing. And she's just a phenomenal person. So I really respect her in the foster care industry, whatever that would look like. I'm not sure, but it's great. It is a great opportunity to help children. And she's done a really, really great job with that. And so, I'm kind of familiar with the foster care situation. Kids just really need a little extra, they've lost their parents one way or another, and they just need it from everybody. If you lost your parents at that age, you just need more from everybody, not just the foster parent. I think you just need a little extra love, a little extra care from somebody else too, would make you feel a little bit more important and do the right thing. And, I've been interviewing Douglas Gallagher off the Deadliest Catch. He is wonderful. Oh my goodness. We're going to interview him again on Friday on Facebook Live. And he was a foster child.
Wow.
And crazy. And he ended up into drugs and into jail for a certain amount of time. And then he ended up saved and an advocate for Christ. It's just a phenomenal story. And what he's doing today will be on Facebook tomorrow. We'll see. I'm not, completely sure. But so it's really, that's kind of what I do. I like to interview people and get their stories out there to encourage others. And it's just a lot of neat things that God has allowed me to do.
So you use socials to spread the good news. You mentioned Children's Miracle Network hospitals and a heart for them. Hoping to launch this, as you were saying, this Disciples in Action with backpacks for foster kids. Now, there's also something that matters to you in the way of letters and scriptures to go to military members. Flesh that out a little bit.
Okay. Well, I know that it's hard to be out there on the front lines and not have family support. Some of those guys don't hear from their families, so, I'm sure. And I just think it would be really important to let them know why they're fighting and what they're fighting for, and give them the encouragement they need to continue on, because it's got to be, devastating to watch and see and be in all of that. So that's one thing I have a heart for. My husband was out in the, Coast Guard for 20 years. So I respect that so deeply. And he's has some really amazing stories to share too, of what he's been through and what he did for 20 years all around the world, not just, in the United States. So, waters. And so it's a really, really incredible what our military do for us. And it is amazing Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and actually, a chat with your husband would be really interesting too. Just somebody who served in the Coast Guard that long, that again
yes.
has so many stories to share, and you
Mhm.
actually are hoping too, if everything falls into place, to get him back to a place that he served for a while, to sort of for the
Yeah.
to the USS Arizona, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I want to honor him
Hmm. And what does that
for.
symbolize for your family, and in honoring his service? What's that mean to you?
Well, his children, everything that he did, we all, understand that it takes a bit of grit,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
continue on, put your family aside and go do your job. And he is just such a rock. I mean,
yeah.
he really is.
Well, that's a lot of
Sorry.
special. No, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, you clearly feel it, and
Yeah.
I that's the kind of thing that I like people to understand when they listen to this program. Some people are in a thing, and this is not to take anything away from any guest that we've ever had, but some people are doing something because
Yeah.
it's part of their job. Other people are doing
Sure.
things like this because it's a real heart thing, and that's clearly
Hmm.
what this is for you. And in fact,
Absolutely.
you have some ministry projects, if I remember right,
Hmm.
that are very much at the center of your participation in this. What are those, by the way? What is Devie Scott Ministries, Disciples in Action? How did you get those started, and what kinds of things are you doing?
Oh, goodness. My friend and I, well, it started with my friend Valerie. She invited me to a conference in Glendale, Arizona. So, for me, I do not like to travel alone.
Hmm.
I'm kind of a meek person. I will stay at home if I if I can't find somebody to go. But so here I am. I'm in Arizona, and my friend offers me to go there. So I have to drive 2 hours by myself,
Mm.
and this was kind of an undertaking for me. And I went, well, God, I am just going to do this.
Yeah.
So I did it. And it was just the hugest blessing I've ever had in my whole life. Just to take that one step of faith, that one step out of my comfort zone,
Mhm.
that one step to do something I've never done before. So, and we had the most fantastic time. We went to the worship service first night, and I went back to our hotel, and all I did was write and put down everything. I mean, it was just everything God lined out in my brain, and it was just, what the name was, what the nonprofit was going to be, and how it was all going to work. I would travel to 17 different states,
Yeah.
and just, encourage people to love and just help each other and, promote the moral standard of the Bible and,
Mhm.
read your Bible, do what it says, and, and be blessed by God and just move forward in a good way and help each other and be unified. We can do so much more together if we were unified.
Yeah.
It is so very important. And I believe God wants us to be unified. And so that's just, what I stand for. I mean, I can't wait to do my first crusade or whatever. I want to throw hats out in the audience. I want to do so much.
Yeah.
I haven't done any of it yet. So I'm just waiting for all this to come together. So the funds are there. I'm not going to put my family in harm's way with, using up all our cash for, a ministry. It really can devastate a family. So I'm trying to wait until, the provisions are there. And so it's working out very well. And I have been able to speak at churches and things like that. And, spread the word through media so far. And it's working out very well. Hopefully go to TV. I want to go to the news station in Anchorage. Next is my goal, especially if I win this round. So
Yeah. Well, and don't you have a magazine article coming out pretty soon?
Well, that's all part of winning.
Oh, if you win, okay, that's
yes,
all right.
Yes. I get a feature in New Beauty magazine. Yeah, so that'll be huge too. That'll really, further the ministry. I'm sure.
Yeah,
it'll reach a lot more people that way too. So yeah.
Yeah. It's
Pretty
the idea of supermom. It's a neat concept for this quest that you're on. But it's a term a lot of times that has been frustrating for women who feel like they have to work a lot and they want to raise the kids and they want to do everything right and keep everything clean and fed and all that kind of thing. That pressure to be perfect. Have you found with women you've interacted with or even in your own life that is more of an empowering label, or is it just exhausting?
Well, it's kind of a balance. I think there's a lot of both in there. Honestly, it's completely a lot of both. I mean, when the kids were little, I was really small. I would, work all morning, get the kids off to school, work all morning on cleaning the house, get the kids, make the dinner, put the kids to bed. And that was a day, and man, I'm like, wow, I'm working so hard at this. And it's just messy all over again every day. It's like, so a few years of that. And I'm like, I need to do something else. And then I went way overboard and got myself way into too many things, couldn't say no, so I would get myself into way too many things. And then I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm about ready to have a heart attack here. I need to slow down and get myself. So I had to start learning how to say no and just, cutting back on the things I was doing. And I mean, and one of the wonderful things I remember as doing for my kids was I loved to be in school with them. Mm-hmm. So they were looking for a basketball coach in our tiny, tiny little town. Yeah. And so nobody would take it. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I played basketball in school, maybe, So I went ahead and applied so the kids would have basketball. Yeah. And I actually did that for 2 or 3 years. I actually coached basketball for my kids, and cheerleading. I did, cheerleading as well. It was so much fun, and we did so well. And so, it's just those things, and that was chaotic and stressful, but you just do it. You just put your head down and just do it, because you'll never regret those, wonderful things that you just stretch yourself a little bit and just go for it anyway. And it's so rewarding.
Well, and two, having your faith walk as part of that. I mean, I know, I know in my own experience that one of the greatest centering forces, obviously, when you're feeling overwhelmed and the projects look too big to handle or anything like that, to just get on your knees and ask for some help, ask for some peace, some guidance. How am I going to do all this stuff? Am I supposed to do all of this stuff? Please help me see a path through it. You get quiet, you listen to the small voice, and, then it kind of sorts itself out. So I imagine, in your supermom efforts that faith has provided you a great deal of strength and relief you wouldn't have found otherwise. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
We went to church every single day, every time the doors were open. When the kids were little, we were just always completely involved. The Glacier View church over there, I mean, we donated the land. We helped build the whole actual church. And it was just, something our kids will never forget. And they still, to this day, acknowledge God and are very...
I was going to ask you that. So how old are they now? Unless that's, I don't want to get overly private, but just ages.
Ages, well, I'll tell you, from 41, I believe, to all the way down to 20.
And you have seen the teaching that you tried to instill in them early as far as their faith walk. You've seen it take hold and have been able to enjoy seeing that grow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I have. And my daughter, I just spent a month with my daughter in Texas, and she, oh my goodness, she told me, and it just blessed my heart. She says, Mom, I used to pray with my brother, Devin. I used to pray with him because I just know he was afraid or something. So I just go to his room and I would just pray with him, just like you taught us, You know, and I was just like, you did that? Really? I'm just like, wow, that is so fantastic.
Okay.
You know, so yeah, so we pray together, especially when I'm in Texas, and yeah, I just can't wait to talk to them on the phone and to, you know, interact with them. It's been so really great we went on a great little camping trip while I was down there, and that was just so much fun. We had a great time together. So yeah,
how is your faith? Talk about how your faith has shaped your choices as a mom, as a minister, and even as a competitor. That seems like a weird term to use for this.
Yeah,
it's this thing that you're in. But how has it been a part of all of those important roles?
Oh my goodness! You know, the one thing is for me is I've been a believer my whole entire life. I've never really not had God. It's kind of an interesting deal for me because I did for long periods of time throughout my life, prayed for forgiveness every single day kind of thing, you know. I went through that phase. But, you know, first off, when I was 7 years old, my mom went to the hospital and my sister had to come get me from school in second grade. And oh my goodness, my mom, she was in the hospital for such a long time. We would sit outside her door because we weren't allowed to go in and see her, but we would sit outside her door, me and my sister, and we would pray for her. And Mama she actually had her gallbladder was as big as a watermelon. So when they opened her up to remove her gallbladder, it exploded. And it took off all her heart arteries. They had to completely redo her insides. And she was in the hospital for months. And it was very devastating for us kids. So we would sit outside and pray and pray and pray for our mama to live. And I told God, I said, God, take me.
Right.
I'm just a child. My mom is so much more important. And she lived over 50 more years.
Oh my.
They sent her home to die because her veins had all collapsed. They said, we can't do any more for her. We just sent her home, you know, to be in her home as she passes. So my mom's sister came and took care of her and made her eat, made her get up, made her do stuff. And she lived. I mean, we're just so blessed to have her for that long. Mm-hmm. And she passed away in 2022, not too long ago. But I was just so grateful to have her in my life for that long.
Yeah.
And I also prayed, Lord, just let my kids know who their grandma is.
Yeah.
And she was just such a beautiful, phenomenal person. She played music. She had her own band. She, did the worship team and on church on Sundays. She taught Sunday school. She was just a wonderful cook. And, just a beautiful person. Everybody absolutely loved her. She was, just
sounds like family.
Really
Family's a pretty big deal to you, isn't it?
Yeah. So that caused me to have such great faith that I hate missing church on Sunday. It just kind of ruins my whole week,
right.
Because it just substantiates my week and I am just ready to go. So church and praying and all those things are just at the top of my list and has been my whole life. My mama gave me a Bible when I was 7 and I still have it, all those scribbles in it, and I would read it. And that was the only book I read for many years.
Sure.
So it's just, and I used to watch those crazy evangelists on TV when I was a kid.
Oh, with the big hair? Yeah.
Yeah. I'd get up in the morning and I start a fire. I was a crazy kid, and I would get up and watch the evangelists on TV, Billy Graham and all those, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, one after the other, I'd search for the next one.
Yeah,
it's crazy, but
what's something
that's been deep.
Something that is interesting, and that I'm always curious about when I have a chance to talk to somebody who's in ministry. One of the harder things for people, particularly with all of the pushback from the culture. The idea that Christianity is, why do you believe all this stuff? Invisible man in the sky, and all that stuff that they say.
Right. Yeah.
And frankly, some of the what I would consider over aggressive techniques of some in various churches. How do you talk to a community, whether it's Cordova or anywhere you've been, about faith and about public service in a way that can resonate with everyone and not just believers?
Well, I tell you, like Jesus did. Jesus really loved the sinners. He ate with them. He walked with them. He talked to them, and I will love each and every person. I just can't help it. And I just love people so much. And, you don't force anybody to go to church, honestly. Never say, you better go to church, or, you have to go to church. And, you can say, we would love to have you at church. I would love to see you at church. It would be, make my heart glad. But you know what? The secret is God calls people to himself. Right. God is the one that brings them. And we are just the one that are going to water it, or he'll give us a word to say that's going to be meaningful to them. Otherwise, you kind of just got to let people be and let God call them to himself, and they will come, as long as you're just kind and gentle. And, we all sin. I mean, there isn't a day that I don't need forgiveness. There's something I've done that isn't probably completely appropriate, so there's a lot of room for forgiveness, and we will not ever, in my mind and how the Bible works for me and what I've learned, we will never be perfect until the Lord comes and takes us home. Sure. Until we leave this earth, that's when God perfects us, is when we are with him. Yeah. And that's just, my belief. And so we're never going to be perfect. We'll never measure up. I could never honestly be a super mom. Yeah. I may have a title. I pray I have a title one day, because this is really going to help the ministry really kick off and take place. But, we've got to be humble. We really need to have that humble spirit and just enjoy people's company. I don't care who they are.
Well, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back now to the supermom process that you're going through. If there are people listening that are feeling connected to what you're about and they want to help move it forward, what is the best thing that they can do to advance the cause?
Well, there's votes every day. They're free. All they take is a few minutes of your time. You can either go to Devie Scott on Facebook, or you could go to, I believe, thesupermom.org. That is the website, to see the whole deal, to be able to vote. Yeah. It's really, really simple, because it says vote for me on Devie Scott Facebook page. Yeah. It just says vote for me. You just touch it and it comes up and it'll tell you, it'll have the vote list there for you to choose from. So
and for anybody who's seeing the archive version of this, who's watching the on-demand show on our YouTube channel, I'll try to remember to put direct links to those so people can go right to them from there.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And so the voting the goal is to collect enough votes to continue to advance, to get to the point where then you can maybe get this title and be able to advance all the things that we've been talking about, these things on your heart, these ministry things, to be able to advance those. Now, in the event that part doesn't go your way, which we certainly hope it will for a Cordovan, but if you don't, what do you hope will come out of this experience for your ministry, for the community, your family? I mean, will it all have been worth it, basically, if you don't end up with the title?
Oh, absolutely. I have learned so much on how to present myself, how to reach out more, how to be more active in, reaching people. And I think that is so key. That's my passion, is people anyhow. So I needed to learn how to reach out to the radio, reach out to the TV channels, to the newspapers.
Right.
I just never even thought of those things. So there's just a lot more I can do to further this ministry and to get, I really wanted to be a movement. I wanted to reach throughout the whole United States. I really wanted to unify the United States again and make a huge impact and a difference. And, I think it'll just be phenomenal at one point.
Well, and we hope you get the chance to do that through victory in the contest. But if not, like you said, you've learned other ways to maybe advance the cause regardless. So that's very valuable. Let's, in closing here, what's maybe the one thing you really want our listeners to remember about you once we are signed off with our interview?
Goodness. Try to be more unified, even within your own family, within our community. Love each other. Put aside your differences and just start thinking of a better way to love each other. You know how we used to help each other? We used to go to each other's houses and, hey, what can I help you with? Let's do dishes together. Who cares? Let's, go out and mow the lawn or, pick the weeds or, do stuff together. That's really what my basis is just, to spread love and encouragement to everyone, to get, all the crazy little hate things that are happening throughout the world. I won't take care of it all, but I want to, try and put out some fires, and just get an impact going that is going to be positive and loving and encouraging for everyone.
Well, you portray it wonderfully. I have enjoyed the conversation. I hope people will, vote for the hometown girl, as it were, and that you'll see some success. Like I said, for those seeing the YouTube version, I'll try to get links to everything in the description. But one more time, tell, and this is for folks listening on the radio too, one last time, how do they vote to move you forward?
Well, go to thesupermom.org. You can go there and see the website for the Supermom. Also, you can go to Devie Scott. Go to my Facebook page, Devie Scott. That's D-E-V as in Victor, I-E, Scott, Facebook. And you'll see, just scroll through my pages. I've got probably a ton of them in there by now. Yeah. So just touch the vote for me, and it'll take you right to, being able to vote for me specifically. So
good. Well, any final thoughts before we put a bow on it?
Okay. Well, I just wanted you to know that I love you all and respect you all, and just appreciate everything you're giving to the Children's Miracle Network. Is just a phenomenal way to help these children in need of medical attention. So appreciate it so very much.
Thank you, Devie, for the time, and we wish you all success.
I appreciate you, JR. Thank you so much for having me.
Pretty fascinating conversation with Devie Scott there. She's got my vote. I'm going to go do that as soon as we wrap up here. And again, if you want to participate in this, if you would like to see the things that Devie believes in advanced to a more national stage, then you can go to thesupermom.org or find Devie Scott on Facebook. Actually, regarding the contest, somebody who knows quite a bit about it did an announcement. Might be a name you recognize. Hang on here.
Hi, it's Heidi Klum. I've seen a lot of runways in my time, but nothing, and I mean nothing, is as fierce as a mom strutting through a sea of toys, carrying a screaming toddler, an overflowing laundry basket, and a laptop with a half-written work email. Now that is a look. Moms, we are powerful and we make magic happen every day. That's why I'm teaming up to honor you all through the Super Mom competition. Win $20,000 and you'll also get the star treatment with a professional photo shoot and personal interview featured in the pages of New Beauty magazine. Join the fun, register today, and let's make a big impact together.
Thank you, Heidi, who may or may not have known she would be invited to this program, but there she is. So a little more information, and our thanks again to Devie for being our guest. If you'd ever like to be a guest, if you're involved in something like this and would like to spread the word, if you know of somebody who might be a good guest that's got a, some sort of a cause they're trying to advance or whatever, tell them you heard this show and have them give us a call or send an email or use the contact form on the website. We're always happy to talk to locals about what's going on. That's the whole point. I mean, yeah, we have statewide guests sometimes, too, when it's something particularly that affects Cordova or maybe affects all of us as Alaskans. But we're here first and foremost for Cordova stuff. And we are brought to you by a very Cordova entity, Cordova Wireless Communications. I mean, it's right there in the name. And if you go to ctcak.net, you can learn more about what Cordova Wireless has to offer. And something I always enjoy sharing about what Cordova Wireless and Cordova Telecom Cooperative are able to do together through their partnership is bring a whole lot of outside money into our community to the tune of $12 million a year at last check. And we don't have to cast a net to bring that in. You don't have to chop anything down. You don't have to dig anything up. All you have to do is work with our local telecom providers, CTC and Cordova Wireless, and the investment comes our way. Pretty neat deal. The rest of the 10 a.m. hour programming to which you are entitled is on the way. And we want to thank you for tuning in for the Town Meeting Talk Show. I'm J.R. Lewis, and again, any ideas for a program, just reach out. Happy to do it. Thanks, Cordova Wireless. We'll see you next time.